Hey, before we get started, I wanted to tell you about a contest. WattCycle, they make big batteries and little batteries. They make all the different solar, lithium, iron, phosphate batteries at different sizes and stuff for storing solar power. Yeah, great for hobbies like mine. They're giving away batteries. They have a contest going, and so I'll put all the information in the link below, where you can find information on how to get signed into that contest, because they're giving away batteries. And it's only good to the lower 48. So if you're in the lower 48, you might be able to win yourself a free WattCycle battery from WattCycle. Wow. Okay, let's get started. Let's talk about power stations, solar generators, portable power, yeah, whatever you call them, these things. Howdy folks, it's Monday and we've got quite a few topics to cover, but we've had a lot of questions in about what are power stations, these solar generators, what are these things? I don't get it, which I can understand. There's a lot to discover here, and so I'm going to try to cover some of this topic so you can kind of get a feel for what's going on here. We also have a new product in for Monday too, so we'll be looking at this as well, and just some solar stuff in general. Let's get into it. Hey, so let's all talk about power stations, or sometimes referred to as solar generators. Now, yeah, this is all going to vary, so we're going to try to do our best to cover it. At the same time, I will try to generalize certain things. It seems like there's as many different manufacturers as there are cars out there right now on the road or something. Everybody's making, one of these. Now, this one here starts at a low price, and obviously it's a very small machine. I will provide links in the description below where you can find these guys too, by the way, just in case you're interested in that, thinking about a power generator or solar generator. I wish they would get the names straight. There's reasons for the name, and somehow we'll try to cover that too today, because that's kind of confusing. But all of these three produce power for 110 things. In other words, this is small. This is only 300 watts, so it could run your TV, your internet modem, and maybe charge a computer or run a computer at the same time. And that's about it. You've about maxed out what this little guy can do, but I still find it really handy because I charge it from solar panels. So I charge it up fully and then I use it. And I will generally put a fan on to keep myself cool during game nights with the family, and I can run this for 4 or 5 hours with a box fan running. And so that's kind of cool because it's not on the grid. I'm not paying for that power. I'm using my solar panels to recharge this over and over again. This one here, this is the middle of the road, yeah, and this is actually by, I believe this was All Powers. I just grabbed a couple off the shelf, except I counted the other day, it was 10, I think we're at 11 right now of these types. And this one here is, this is one of the newer models, and it provides 1500 watts, so you could run your refrigerator off of this. Yeah, you could run power tools. I can run my table saw, that sort of thing. It has a tremendous amount of power. Now, any of these, doesn't matter, this one, or that one, none of them are going to last very long, if you're drawing that kind of power, of course. But what they do is they have everything in here so that all you need to do is bring in solar panels and have some portables or hard panels outside somewhere and wire them into one of these, and this can not only charge this, but you can use that power, and in fact use it at the same time in most cases. Some of them will not allow you to run the solar in and charge it and run the AC at the same time. So that's why I said some of this stuff is going to vary a little bit, and that's where things are going to get confusing too. But what's in this is a power inverter. So it's going from 12 volts or whatever voltage to 110, household type voltage here in the USA. That's great. But what also is in here is a control charger, a control system where whatever it is you're bringing in from the solar panels, it can be converted to help charge the batteries that are in these things and bring them up to full. Now, that voltage, again, can be, and you have to look at each of these models, could be anywhere from usually around 12 volt to around 60 volts, but different makes and models are going to determine what you can or cannot use. I have one, for example, that goes up to, I think it's 100 volts, And what that means is I can series my panels and really up the wattage and whatever and bring in a lot. But there's another problem. You knew this was coming, right? Yeah. These, all three of these have a different amount of wattage that will come in to charge. So I'm going to take a flying leap here for a second and just go, this is the big one. This is expensive, but what makes this thing so awesome is it can take in as much as 2,000 watts. And it can be fully charged in 0.6 of an hour, according to the paperwork. Yeah, whether it can or not, I've never checked that out, but it can take 2,000. And at the same time, you could be using power from it. So you could be using this to run your refrigerator and fully charge this at the same time. And then during the night, you could get through most of the evening, or maybe the whole overnight, with just running on this and then charging it the next morning with the solar panels outside or wherever and bringing this thing back up to charge. So yeah, all three of these can be charged with solar panels, but they also have other means. They can sometimes plug into cars that run 12-volt system to charge these up, and also you can get a 110 plug with this one and this one. This one does not come with a 110. I don't think you'd want to do that, but you can charge these with 110 plugs in the house, and that's sort of like, yeah, it kind of defeats my purpose because I'm trying to get away from using the grid power as much as possible. If it's possible, I'm trying to do it, and also have as much power as I want when I want it, and just be able to use it. It's almost like free electricity compared to, you know, what's coming out of the outlet in the house. So there's a lot of great things about these, but the size and everything makes a big difference. This one here, for example, can take up to 400 watts coming in from solar. In other words, that's it. You know, you could have 800 or 1,000 watts of panels outside, but it's not going to do you much good because this is not going to allow in more than 400. It has a battery management system, or what you'll hear BMS. You'll hear that BMS term used a lot with solar. And what it is it's controlling the charge coming in. It also controls discharge. BMS does a lot of things for the batteries to protect them from overheat, getting too cold, that kind of thing, and also from charge. So this one's only 400, which means it's going to take a lot longer to charge this one at 400 than, say, something like this, even though this is a much bigger unit and carries almost twice as much power, but it allows in a lot more power, and that again is going to make a difference. Plus, this one here, I have to take a look at the specs on it again, but I think this one's 30 volt and up, so you have to have a serious panel, or a panel that's you know, rated for 30 volts or more, solar panel, to bring power into this guy. So if your brain hasn't turned to mush yet, yeah, I brought a solar panel, just a small, flexible, portable one from All Powers, over to the bench here. And all your solar panels like this, these portable kits and stuff, are going to come with what we call MC4 cables. They only plug in a certain way, or should only plug in a certain way, so that the positive runs through to the positive on the machine, the negative runs through the negative of the machine, and they're kind of a one-way plug. But they're really neat because they're kind of a weatherized, sealed plug, so when you hook them together, it keeps the weather out of them, which is a real good idea. This particular panel is 100 watt. So for those of you that don't know, they're going to say, oh, 100 watt, well, it must be a 12 volt panel. No. This is actually what we would call, in the business, I guess we'll call it a 24 volt panel, but the open voltage on here is 30 volts. Yeah. The maximum voltage that this could produce with the panel is going to be 25.6, I think it is, 25.5 volts. So this is what I would call 24 volt panel. So when you check your power station, make sure your power station can handle in that range. And a lot of them will say, you know, 11 to 30, 11 to 60, 11 to 75, whatever. They will have something marked on there, or check your service manual if you have to, because I was checking the All Powers one here this morning, and I can't find a voltage rating for the input here, which is, you know, not very good. Usually they're right on the machine, so I'm really surprised this one don't seem to have it. But they generally tell you what the voltage range is so that you don't underload, because that would create a lot of current, a lot of heat, damage the unit. Or if you put too much voltage in, same thing, you know, create damage. So this is all you would need. Theoretically, you've got a solar panel with some MC4 cables that plug in. Now you can use this unit to draw power from and run things, and at the same time you can still have charge coming in. So when you're finished running it and you stop, this will sit there and just cook and help to charge the battery up. Daytime with sunlight, of course. Now I don't have sunlight here in the garage, at least I hope not, unless the roof's missing. So this panel's not going to produce anything right here, right now, I don't believe. In fact, sometimes they produce a couple of watts or something if the sun's shining really good through a window and hitting the panel or something, but that's not going to be the case here. But I just wanted to show you the basic hookup of what makes like a solar generator so handy. Is this all you need? You need this, the generator itself, which is a unit to buy, and then you just get yourself some solar panels, and you can create and charge up and make power day after day. That's pretty cool, And this is all you need. Not like a classic system like I have in my barn, where I have hard panels up on the roof, I have a control charger coming down through, I have an inverter to create power, I have batteries to store the power with, that sort of thing. It's a lot more sophisticated system. It's a lot bulkier, a lot larger, and it might offer more features, of course, than something like this, where you're kind of like, but of course it's not portable. This is very portable. What I really love about these power stations is that you can just, all you have to do is add solar panels like this, and you got power. So I'm going to unplug that. Now if your brain hasn't turned to mush yet, we're going to move on. So this is how quick things can get a little complicated, but the answer is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty simple. But this is a 12 volt charge system on this one. So in other words, this panel would be too high a voltage. So you wouldn't want to put this panel and hook it to this, even though the plugs will allow you to do it, but that doesn't mean it's right. Now this one here takes an XT90, which is like this yellow plug, but it's much larger. So at least this system will not plug into that, which is good. This is too low a voltage, theoretically, for this, and too high a voltage for this one. But it's fine for the all powers one here. So when you're looking at packages like this, it's a no-brainer. You sort of like, yeah, if you buy theirs, you probably should buy their solar panel package, or if you buy this, you should buy their solar power package, or be well aware of what voltage ratings there are for the solar, so that if you do buy somebody else's, you buy the right one. Because yeah, you do not want to cross over that and damage. These are too expensive to screw up, they just are. And so it's best to probably stay with the same manufacturer and just go with that. Now there's a good example. I just brought this MC4 cable in from outside. This is an extension cable that runs out to a 400 watt portable set, and I'm bringing it in right now. And it's not, actually there's some shade on some of the panels, so she's not going to produce anywhere near 400. When you plug it into this solar generator, it is charging it up now. And one of the cool things with these things I really love is it shows you right there on the reading how many watts you got coming in. In fact, I'll come around so I can see myself what we got. But yeah, 143 watts coming in off of the solar package that's laying out in the driveway. It's just a portable set. And with the shade on it, it's doing okay. And we're at 83%, so we'll leave that, and this will charge up. It will make some noise. That's another thing that I guess something you may or may not want to consider. Some campers have complained that these things are kind of noisy, which yeah they are. They come with cooling fans and things that they need, so that's not a big deal to me. But for some camping, I can imagine wanting to sleep or something with this running beside you might not be the greatest thing. Now this one here, I'm going to just turn it so I can get the reading off of it. Yeah, she's heavy. I turned it the wrong way. Figures. This one here has a fairly high substantial requirement, I believe, so that's why I'm looking at it, because wow, this one's pretty high. This one is 12 to 150 volts can be coming in on this. That is a lot. That's a lot of power. And we'll plug this in and see if it'll run today or not, because I'm not sure where we're at with this right now. But this one here is just one that I just use it as a backup for the house when we had power go off. This is one of the ones that helped me get through the problems, sort of thing. And so this little guy even. Again, because of the 400 watts and it's at 36 volts, you can't use that for this. You would burn this thing up trying to do that. But Viver has its own 12 volt package that you can buy that's a portable that can go right into this to charge it. Now, all of that said, there's another problem with this industry that I'm going to point out that does really bother me. And that's, a lot of them come with these cigarette lighter plugs, and I would say up and down, just don't do it. Yeah, so there's a lot of different things about these that are kind of cool for power stations. This is a different kind of solar power compared to the classic model I have in the barn. Like I said, the barn's more traditional. And these, there's just some really cool things, like the readout. It'll tell you how many watts is coming in, how many watts is going out, how long the power station can last with the present power demand that's on it, that sort of thing. So sometimes it'll tell you, oh, in 5 hours I'll be, my batteries will be flat or something. So they're really an interesting item to have, not just for like house emergency, but for camping or boating, anything like that where you might want to have this kind of power with you. They're just an awesome machine, and they're like a portable inverter, but they have a lot more features than that, of course. This one's now charged up to 99%, almost 100. If I leave it on long enough, it'll probably get to 100. If you're anal or you have OCD like me, you might want to take it all the way to 100, make sure it's topped off. This one here, same thing, I always top it right off. This one here, I just plugged it in, but nothing is happening right now, so we're just sitting on it right now. That's another thing that power stations will kind of throw you a little bit. A lot of these, including these models here, when you first plug them in to like a solar panel, they don't react like in split seconds. It'll take a few minutes, and then the machine will realize what's going on, and it'll start showing power's coming in from a solar panel. It's this many watts. And again, it always measures in watts. It won't tell you voltage or current. You're not going to see that kind of thing. It's just going to say watts. So, which for myself, that's fine. Volts times amps equals watts. So, whatever. Price-wise, they get pretty expensive. They start cheap enough, but they go up pretty quick. But you have to take a look at what your needs are. And my own personal needs, from now on, if there's a storm and power goes off for any length of time, I guess the priority is the refrigerator. Yeah, gotta keep everything cold and keep it going. I can't have my bowl of cereal if that milk goes bad. So pretty interesting. Now, one of the things I wanted to do today too, but I'm not gonna have time for it, obviously, but is this here. The Testman sent this one in, and this is a smart digital meter, and we're gonna probably cover some more of it on maybe Thursday, because I want to show you some solar panels where we do parallel and series wiring with them, and just see the difference in performance. Because yeah, to the power stations, sometimes up the voltage will just make them work just that much better when you're charging. Yeah, it shouldn't work that way, but from my experiments with these 11 power stations around here, I have found that higher voltages, if you can get that, not this one obviously, but if you can get it with one of these, a higher voltage seems to charge faster, better, it just less problems. And anyways, so we'll be measuring that sort of thing. But anyways, this smart meter thinks on its own. So there's really not that much in the way of settings. They're real easy to use, and you could plug it in, and it's going to tell you whether it's AC or DC power and how much power is there, that sort of thing. And it's going to figure it out for itself. It takes a sample and it tells you, really quickly what you've got on hand. But you can also do ohms test and all the usual resistance tests, stuff like that. So it's a great little meter. And I think Thursday we'll have to spend some time, looking at the Testman. Testman has some really interesting things. They also have the probes, of course. Personally, I don't like the probes. Really against those darn things. But a meter, when you put 2 probes down, I like to see, tell me what's going on. Do I have power here? How much power? That kind of thing. So, yeah, interesting product, and we'll come back to that on Thursday. Meantime, I'm just going to get out of here. It is so hot today in Texas. We've got some thunder out here today. I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't seen any rain. It'd be cool if we get some rain. That would be nice, help cool it off a little, because it's like 100, or feels like 100. Yeah. I'm going to get out of here. Anyways, thank you so much for watching Coffee and Tools. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the notice bell, and I'm out of here. Over and out.